The rain had just begun to fall against the wide glass windows of Ethan Cole's penthouse, streaking the city lights into blurred, shimmering lines. Inside, the warmth of the fire painted the marble floors in hues of orange and gold. Ethan, one of the youngest self-made millionaires in New York, sat quietly at the edge of his leather sofa, sipping a glass of bourbon. On the surface, his life was everything most people dreamed of: wealth, luxury, power. He owned multiple tech companies, drove cars worth more than some people's homes, and lived in a space so high above the streets that he could barely hear the chaos of the city below. But what people didn't see, what even Ethan himself often ignored, was how lonely it all felt. Tonight, though, he wasn't entirely alone. His girlfriend, Vanessa, was in the kitchen. She was beautiful, the kind of woman who turned heads wherever she went. A model, socialite, and self-proclaimed queen, she had a taste for the finest things in life. And she made sure everyone around her knew it. And then there was Maria. The maid. Maria was different. She was soft-spoken, always keeping her head down, moving with a quiet efficiency that made her almost invisible in Ethan's lavish world. But despite her silence, there was something about her presence that felt grounding. Ethan noticed it on the rare days when the noise of investors, parties, and boardrooms faded away. Maria hummed softly while folding laundry. She whispered a prayer before starting her shift. And sometimes, when she thought no one was looking, she would glance out the massive windows with wide, longing eyes, as though she carried the weight of 1,000 stories no one had ever asked her to tell. It was late, too late for Maria to still be working. Ethan had told her more than once she didn't have to stay so long, but she always insisted. "I'd just like to finish everything before I go," she would say, her Spanish accent coloring her words. Tonight, however, Ethan overheard something that made his stomach turn. He was heading toward the kitchen when he stopped just short of the doorway. Vanessa's sharp voice cut through the air like glass. "Are you seriously this slow? I asked you to wipe down the counters, not smear them with grease." Ethan froze. He peered into the room, hidden in the shadows. Maria stood by the sink, clutching a damp rag in her trembling hands. Her face was pale, her eyes lowered. "I'm sorry, ma'am," Maria whispered. "I'll do it again." Vanessa scoffed. "You're sorry. You're always sorry. God, I don't know how people like you survive. What are you even good for, huh? My nails have more value than you do." Ethan's chest tightened. The venom in Vanessa's tone was unbearable, but what shocked him even more was the way Maria didn't argue back. She just nodded, swallowing her pride like she had been doing it her whole life. Vanessa wasn't finished. She stepped closer, tilting Maria's chin up with one perfectly manicured finger. "You know what's funny? Ethan feels sorry for you. He thinks you're sweet, hardworking. But between you and me, you're nothing. Replaceable. Disposable." Maria flinched. And that's when Ethan stepped into the room. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned. "Vanessa, what did you just say?" Vanessa turned, startled. For a moment, her mask slipped, but then she plastered on a dazzling smile. "Ethan, I was just giving her a little push. You know, encouraging her to do better." Maria quickly lowered her gaze, trying to fade into the background, but Ethan wasn't looking away. He walked toward them, every step echoing in the silence. "Encouragement," he said coldly. "That's what you call this?" Vanessa's smile faltered. "Ethan, don't overreact. She's the help. You pay her, don't you? She should be grateful." "Enough," Ethan snapped, his voice sharper than the crack of thunder outside. Maria gasped softly. Vanessa blinked at him, stunned. "You're defending her?" "Defending her?" Ethan's voice trembled with restrained anger. "I'm ashamed I even have to. Do you think treating people like this makes you powerful? It makes you small, Vanessa. Smaller than I've ever seen you." Vanessa's cheeks flushed red. Not from guilt, but from indignation. "You can't be serious. You're going to take her side over mine?" Ethan turned to Maria. For the first time that night, he really looked at her, not just as an employee, but as a human being. She stood frozen, her hands still trembling, her eyes brimming with unshed tears. And then something unexpected happened. Maria straightened her shoulders. She met Ethan's gaze with quiet strength. "Please," she whispered. "Don't fight because of me. I'm used to it." Her words landed like a punch to Ethan's chest. "I'm used to it." Vanessa laughed bitterly. "See, even she admits it, she knows her place." But Maria shook her head. Her voice was soft but steady now. "No, that's not what I meant. What I meant is, people like me, we learn to swallow it. Because what choice do we have? I have children. a mother back home. They depend on me. If I lose this job," she broke off, her lip quivering. "So I stay quiet. I let myself be treated this way. Because survival doesn't give you the luxury of pride." The room went silent. Even Vanessa seemed momentarily speechless. Ethan's throat tightened. He had built his empire on boldness, on never backing down. And here was this woman, enduring humiliation every day because her life didn't give her any other option. He turned to Vanessa, his decision already made. "Get out." Vanessa blinked. "Excuse me, you heard me," Ethan said firmly. "Get your things and get out, right now." Vanessa's mouth fell open. "You can't be serious. You're ending this, over her?" Ethan didn't flinch. "No, I'm ending this because of you. Because I just saw the real you. And I won't, share my life with someone who believes kindness is weakness." For a moment, Vanessa looked like she might fight back, but the steel in Ethan's eyes left no room for argument. With a furious huff, she grabbed her purse and stormed toward the door, her heels clicking against the marble like gunshots. The door slammed shut. Silence. Maria stood frozen, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Mr. Cole, I'm sorry. I never wanted to cause." Ethan shook his head. "Don't apologize. Not to me. Not ever for existing." He hesitated, then added quietly, "You've been carrying so much on your own. But you shouldn't have to." Maria looked at him, confused. "What do you mean?" Ethan took a deep breath. For years, he had measured his worth in dollars, in titles, in skyscrapers. But at this moment, none of that mattered. What mattered was the woman standing before him. The one who had been invisible for too long. "You've been working here for months," Ethan said softly, "and I never really asked about you. Your family, your dreams. That changes tonight." Maria blinked, her eyes wide. "I want to help you," Ethan continued. "Not out of pity, but out of respect. You've shown more strength in silence than most people do with all their noise. If you'll let me, I'd like to give you and your children a better life." Maria's lips parted, but no sound came out. She stared at him, utterly stunned. Finally, she whispered, "Why? Why would you do this for me?" Ethan smiled faintly. "Because you deserve it. Because you remind me that wealth means nothing if it doesn't lift others. And because, maybe I need you more than I realized." At that, Maria's composure broke. She covered her face with her hands, sobbing softly, not out of shame, but out of sheer, overwhelming relief. And Ethan, for the first time in years, he felt something stir inside him. Something more powerful than success, more grounding than fame. It was humanity. It was hope. And it all began with the maid who had been invisible until someone finally chose to see her.